In the cutthroat world of 2007 Formula One, the rivalry between two giants, McLaren and Ferrari, was reaching a fever pitch. On the track, every millisecond counted, every innovation a potential game-changer. But off it, a shadow operation was unfolding, threatening to upend the entire championship. This was more than just racing, it was industrial espionage on an unprecedented scale. Deep within Ferrari's hallowed halls, a clandestine act was about to unleash a scandal that would reverberate through motorsport history, forever altering reputations and fortunes. The stage was set for betrayal. Our story begins with Nigel Stepney, a highly respected and long-serving chief mechanic at Ferrari. For years, Stepney had been an integral part of Ferrari's success, a trusted figure within their meticulously guarded technical operations. However, beneath the surface of loyalty, discontent simmered. A sense of disillusionment and frustration with his role grew, leading him down a path of increasing bitterness. This resentment, coupled with access to the highest level of Ferrari's secrets, created a dangerous cocktail, ripe for exploitation by a rival. Driven by his grievances, Nigel Stepney took an unthinkable step. He began to systematically gather highly confidential technical information from Ferrari's most sensitive departments. This wasn't just casual data, it was the lifeblood of their performance. Stepney compiled an astonishing 780 pages of detailed documents, a comprehensive blueprint of Ferrari's entire 2007 F1 vehicle, from aerodynamic concepts to engine specifications, even test procedures. Every secret, every advantage Ferrari had painstakingly developed, was meticulously copied, ready to be handed over. Across the F1 paddock, in the gleaming white halls of McLaren, was Mike Coughlin, their chief designer. Coughlin was a pivotal figure, responsible for the performance and innovation of McLaren's championship contenders. The information Stepney held would be invaluable to any rival, but to McLaren, already a formidable competitor, it promised an almost insurmountable advantage. The connection between Stepney and Coughlin became the secret channel through which Ferrari's technological soul would be transferred, a silent betrayal unfolding in the high-stakes world of Formula One. The moment of transfer was shrouded in secrecy, a testament to the high stakes involved. The 780 pages, a digital goldmine, were allegedly handed over by Stepney to Coughlin, outside the official channels, away from prying eyes. This wasn't a casual exchange, it was a deliberate act of industrial espionage designed to give McLaren an unfair edge in the Constructors' and Drivers' Championships. The documents were a direct insight into Ferrari's entire development strategy, potentially saving McLaren months, even years, of research and millions of dollars. With Ferrari's secrets now in McLaren's possession, a chilling question arose: how much of this stolen knowledge would subtly influence the design and performance of the McLaren cars? The information wasn't merely read, it was absorbed, analyzed, and integrated. Even if direct copying was avoided, the mere awareness of Ferrari's solutions, their weaknesses, and their strengths, offered an invisible, yet powerful, advantage. McLaren's engineers now had an unparalleled strategic overview of their closest rival's entire technical philosophy. The season was now being fought on an uneven playing field. Months passed, and the secret remained tightly guarded. The 2007 season roared on, McLaren and Ferrari locked in an epic battle. But the first faint cracks in the facade of secrecy began to emerge. A separate investigation involving Nigel Stepney, unrelated at first glance, started to shed light on his increasingly erratic behavior and alleged sabotage attempts at Ferrari. While not directly about the documents, this initial scrutiny began to shine an uncomfortable spotlight on Stepney, stirring suspicion and raising questions within the tightly knit F1 community. The walls were beginning to close in. The true unmasking of Spygate came not through high-tech surveillance, but from a most unexpected source, a local photocopy shop in Woking, Surrey, not far from McLaren's headquarters. Mike Coughlin's wife had brought a substantial pile of documents, Ferrari's 780 pages, to be copied and bound. The shop owner, noticing the distinct Ferrari branding and the highly technical, confidential nature of the papers, immediately recognized their significance. A quiet act of photocopying became the loud, undeniable echo of a colossal betrayal, bringing the secret out into the open. Alarmed by what they had seen, the photocopy shop owner, understanding the gravity of the situation, decided to act. They anonymously contacted Ferrari, providing the first concrete evidence that their most guarded secrets had been compromised. This anonymous tip-off was the critical turning point. It transformed mere suspicion into undeniable fact, laying bare the audacious scale of the information theft. Ferrari, now armed with tangible proof, swiftly escalated the matter, setting in motion a chain of events that would shake Formula One to its very core. The whistle had been blown. Armed with the tip-off, Ferrari launched legal proceedings. Within days, police raided Mike Coughlin's home, where the 780 pages of Ferrari's technical blueprints were found. The discovery was irrefutable. Despite this, McLaren initially maintained that the information was confined to Coughlin and had not permeated the wider team or influenced their car's design. They insisted on their innocence, attempting to distance the team from Coughlin's actions. But the sheer volume and detail of the documents made these denials increasingly difficult to sustain in the face of mounting evidence. The scandal quickly escalated beyond a civil dispute between two teams, drawing the immediate and severe attention of the FIA, Formula One's governing body. The integrity of the sport itself was at stake. The FIA launched a full-scale investigation, demanding answers and transparency. Their inquiry sought to determine not only the extent of the document transfer but, crucially, whether this stolen intelligence had been used to gain an unfair competitive advantage. The world of F1 held its breath, knowing that the implications of such a breach could be monumental. In July 2007, the FIA World Motorsport Council convened for its first hearing on Spygate. McLaren presented its defense, arguing that while Mike Coughlin was in possession of the documents, there was no evidence that the information had been used to improve their car. To the surprise of many, the council initially ruled that McLaren was technically in breach of regulations but that no penalty would be applied due to insufficient evidence that the confidential Ferrari information had been used. This decision sparked outrage from Ferrari and left many observers questioning the integrity of the process. However, the story was far from over. Ferrari, refusing to accept the initial verdict, pursued the matter further, leveraging new evidence. They presented internal McLaren emails and text messages that strongly suggested that key figures within the team were indeed aware of the Ferrari data and had discussed its contents. This fresh wave of communication revealed that the knowledge was not confined to Mike Coughlin alone, but had permeated more widely within McLaren's technical staff. The previous denials crumbled under the weight of this irrefutable digital paper trail. Faced with this damning new evidence, the FIA was compelled to reconvene the World Motorsport Council in September 2007. The stakes were incredibly high. McLaren was given an ultimatum: either cooperate fully and truthfully about the extent of their knowledge and use of Ferrari's data, or face severe consequences. The pressure was immense. Drivers, engineers, and management were all forced to provide sworn affidavits, detailing their involvement and awareness. This crucial rehearing was the final act, sealing McLaren's fate and the legacy of the Spygate scandal. On September 13, 2007, the FIA delivered its seismic verdict. McLaren was found guilty of fraudulent conduct and possession of Ferrari's confidential technical information. The penalty was unprecedented in motorsport history, a staggering $100 million fine. Furthermore, McLaren was stripped of all its constructors' points for the 2007 season, effectively disqualifying them from the Constructors' Championship. While their drivers, Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, were allowed to keep their points, the financial and reputational damage to McLaren was immense and far-reaching. The Spygate scandal sent shockwaves through the world of Formula One. McLaren, one of the sport's most prestigious teams, had been caught in a web of deceit, resulting in a colossal financial penalty and a tarnished reputation. Nigel Stepney and Mike Coughlin faced personal consequences, their careers in F1 effectively over. The incident led to a stricter enforcement of technical regulations and a renewed focus on corporate governance within motorsport. Spygate remains a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the intense pressures and moral compromises that can arise in the relentless pursuit of victory at any cost. Even years later, the scars of Spygate lingered. The relationships between McLaren and Ferrari, once a fierce but respectful rivalry, were forever strained. The scandal forced Formula One to confront the dark side of its relentless innovation and hyper-competitiveness. It highlighted the constant battle between pushing boundaries and upholding ethical standards. The $100 million fine wasn't just a punishment, it was a clear message from the FIA: industrial espionage has no place in a sport that prides itself on fair competition and technological prowess. The price of betrayal was indeed staggering.